Anywhere you want.
Okay. Action.
All right, folks, it's 3:30, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. Thank you for being here on this beautiful sunny day. We are going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. This isn't as crowded as our last meeting. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd also like to say that it is opening day for baseball, and I'm very excited for that. What about you?
My team's already 1-0.
I know. Who'd they beat? Who'd they beat? The Cubs, my team. No, I'm going to move over to this chair. We can still be
It's a long
friends.
season. Lots gonna happen.
All right. I knew that was going to be a point of contention.
David, I said hi, by the way.
I will. All right, so we have the meeting minutes to approve from the last meeting. So we have the regular meeting minutes. They're not-
I'll make a motion that we approve.
Hold
the-
on.
Oh, sorry.
Hold on.
Thought you were waiting for me.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll make a motion we approve the minutes for the public meeting on Tuesday, February 25th.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. That's that. I missed those. And then on the non-public meeting minutes, we voted to leave those unsealed, so I'm doing this late. We were supposed to do this when we re-entered the public meeting afterwards, so I will make a motion to seal the minutes.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And roll call to seal minutes are, and that we don't need signatures on that, just motion. Numbers. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is that it? Like,
Yes.
cover?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Whew. All right. No one from the chamber today?
No.
Okay,
April 8th.
April 8th.
On the 8th, she said.
Okay, so we'll put that on till the spring. Love saying that. All right, so we have apparel impact clothing bin, and Gloria, you are here with Garrett, and I'm sorry, I already missed your first name. Is it
Dawson.
Dawson?
Yes.
Okay, so whoever wants to speak first and tell us about this.
Okay, I'll just mention that Dawson and I are part of the longest name, Mount Washington Valley Climate Change Working Group. So we're part of that. And part of our mission is to try to find places for free stuff. Since the transfer station store is not happening, we're looking for options. We've been trying to work with Bob a little bit at the transfer station. Greg, who heads up our committee, is he's very involved in, he's the one promoting the Jackson Bridge, alternatives to the
Right.
transfer station, and the yard sales.
Yeah, the yard sale, which is coming up Saturday.
Yes, which is coming up Saturday and has the free stuff tables. This is another part of that. Apparel Impact are the ones that have those bins where you can donate clothing and apparel, and I'll let Garrett speak to that, but our group would love to see one of those bins in town. There are, I think, 8 or 10 of us on the committee. We would be happy to kind of keep an eye on the bin if it's overflowing and just be, in touch with Apparel Impact. So I am going to let Garrett talk about the bin itself and the business and go from there.
I guess if you have any questions, before.
I do have a couple, because we had a bin in town years ago, correct?
We had a bin at the transfer station.
Okay, not
We
in
had-
town here, it was at the transfer
Right,
station.
we had a Planet Aid one, and then I don't know if...
So years ago, we got permission. I actually went up personally, talked to Bob.
Okay.
We had a bin, and then something happened. Bartlett, we didn't get permission from Bartlett. I didn't
Yeah,
even really
I
know
remember
they
that
were
now.
connected. And then they wanted it removed, and then, that's kind of what happened, but.
So here are a few of my other questions before we go too far. You said manning it, you would take care of that. How much inappropriate stuff goes in the bins that you have to weed out? And is
It
there
all
any
depends on
there?
location. Obviously, in the cities, sometimes that can be, an issue, but we've always found that we want to be at our bin at a minimum once a week. Anything over that, the clothing can be damaged, they might get wet, moldy. So we don't let it sit for more than a week.
Gotcha.
So most of our locations, we actually do 3 times a week. That's, if a bin even produces, remotely well, we go there pretty often. We have some locations we do 5 days a week. And in the spring, some locations we actually end up doing 6 days a week. In Sanford, Maine, if you've ever heard of Shane's, ice cream, Shane's in Maine. We have 6 bins out there, and we're there 5 days a week.
Wow.
So right now, the spring has hit. I just found out that the bins were full on Sunday night, so now we're talking about having a guy go out on a weekend. We usually don't like to have the guys go on the weekend, but spring is kind of a different animal, so we'll do that extra work for those big locations. But obviously, every location is vastly different. I don't see needing 6 bins out here, but yeah, you never know.
How big are the bins?
Currently, we're using 3x3s. We've had different sizes in the past, but 3x3s are what we get our hands on right now. They have levers, so nobody can get inside. It's very important for cities. Sometimes they have a homeless issue. They want to try to get in the bin. This just kind of eliminates that. For the longest time, we always used 4x4s, open chute. People would like to dive in, so we save those for nice areas that you never have to worry about that. We have a few of those right now. They do hold a lot more than a 3x3. So I don't usually like to just put out one 3x3 in most instances because they only hold like 30 bags. And if you're in an area where it's like, okay, everything else in the area is once a week, I like to have that leeway if somebody's cleaning out a house or whatever happens. I like to have that extra space. So a lot of times we do 2 3x3s, depending on the area. But you can always bring more. It's not that big a deal.
Is there a cost for this?
No cost. We deliver the bin. The bin's free. The delivery is free. The service is free. We basically just need permission for location. We do everything else.
What kind of questions do you have, Bob?
I was wondering if you could walk me through what happens after you pick up the clothing, where it goes, where the profits go. How many bins are you looking at in Jackson, and do you have any locations in mind?
Well, I grabbed the patches on the way in. I talked to Ron over there. That was a location that I've always been interested in. Just never had time to get them, where I wasn't really, he was always busy. But it all kind of depends. You go into an area and you have to kind of feel it out and see how many bins you need for the area. When you hit a point where you have another bin and it doesn't fill up, you've hit that kind of point where you're probably okay. Typically, it depends on the town, but 3 or 4 locations are usually good. As I was kind of telling them, it's very unique, this industry, because in Claremont, New Hampshire, we have a gas station on one side and then a carpet place on the other side. They both produce exactly the same, and we had to move the carpet one out for construction. And it's not, the clothes didn't travel over to the gas station. Gas station stayed exactly how it is every single day. We moved it back after construction, and then it picked back up, 80 bags a week there. So it's a very strange kind of psychology. People don't want to go out of their way I've had a bin 2 buildings down from someone like, oh, I've never seen your bins. And they can walk to it because they always take a left out of their driveway. And like I was telling you too, my wife doesn't even go 5 minutes out of the way in town to go to the bin. It's in my town because it's out of her way for, dropping the kids off at school and going to work. So it's all about finding the right spots, flow of traffic, and trying to capitalize on those spots that have high traffic and
Do you have
visibility.
any thoughts in mind already? Sorry to interrupt.
I don't know. I mean, it's your town. Whatever's best, for you guys. It's for your town. So whatever you think is best. You know it better than I do. I've spent a lot of summers up here, but I don't live here.
If I may. So a couple places that we threw out as a group that mostly lives in this area. When we were first talking about it, so Greg is also in charge of the books and keeping the books for the book sale, so he was looking at the town garage down there, the old one. And he was thinking in front of that, but then he was like, maybe that's too visible.
Yeah.
So then the next option we came up with was by the porta potty over here.
Right.
And we spoke to Jim about for the highway and how it would be for plowing and stuff, and he didn't think it would be a problem at all. I did speak to the porta potty people, and they said, yeah, we find some trash around that area and dog poo bags and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much typical. They feel like it's pretty common. These guys said if they did find trash in the bins or whatever, that they do take care of it.
Yep.
The third location, but now it's not sounding like it's the best one, was we were thinking more visible for us, more eyes on it would be back here. And again, Jim thought plowing not a problem, but Harris seems to think maybe the truck, it's a 20-foot truck that comes into, and that might be a problem for that one. So I don't know if either of those spots might be an option. It sounds like visibility is a good thing from their perspective, but and maybe we could try it, and if it doesn't work, we could move it. I don't know. And to answer your question too, Garrett was also saying right now 80% of clothing goes into a landfill.
80% of all the clothing in the U.S. are going to landfill. There's so much clothing that nobody can really solve the problem by themselves, and that's with every company that you can think of that's already doing a lot of this is not even putting it down. And if you gave away every piece of clothing, you can't even find the people. I just talked to Ron. He said, "I have a sweatshirt. I can't find anybody to give it to." So this is the solution to that. So what we do is we use the largest clothing graders in the U.S. They specialize in this. This is all they do. They have a giant warehouse. So we collect all the clothes. We bring it back to the warehouse. We put it in what's called as a cap sack. It's a big sack. It's about 400 pounds worth of clothes. Load it up on an 18-wheeler. It's about 40,000 pounds a load. Send it to the clothing graders, and there's 3 large ones in the U.S. We use those because you have a greater chance of keeping it in the U.S. where a lot of other companies, they send it directly overseas. And we had talked about some of the issues with that. I was going to go into the issues, but if you don't want to hear about all that.
I got nothing going on.
Yeah, no problem. So the problem with sending it overseas, it goes to Ghana and things like that. What happens is they buy the clothes in packages, and they'll pull out like 4 or 5 pieces. But if there's something wrong with the clothes, they throw it right on the beach, and there's mountains of clothes on the beach, and they need the clothes to sell in the markets to make money and everything else and feed their families. But extremely picky. The clothes are piling up. The whole beach is made out of clothes. You can look online and see the videos. It's pretty crazy. So some of the other companies have completely bombarded these countries. Kenya, there's a landfill that should have been closed in 2001. If you see the video of that, it is, as far as the eye can see, just clothes piled up. The problem with clothes in the landfill is the chemicals on our clothes leach into the ground, into the water, and you cannot get rid of these chemicals. We don't know how to get rid of them. So the goal is to, if we can at least slow it down, stop it, it's gonna have to be solved at the top end from the clothing makers. But in the meantime, we have to try to keep it out of the landfill. And the good thing about the clothing graders that we use, if the clothes are damaged, torn, as long as they're not wet and moldy, they can be turned into other uses. So when you think, oh, well, this is ruined, no one can wear it, that's fine. It can be sent to the graders. They can turn it into insulation for homes, padding for furniture. The padding in your car is typically made out of clothes. So it's still a material. It can still be used for other things. So that's what you can do with these graders. And anything that can be worn again, it's all graded as an A, B, C, D, and it's split into a bunch of different categories. So it can be down to black, large sweatshirts. That's a section. Then a thrift store can call them and buy heavily reduced price clothes in bulk in whatever category they want. I need jeans, Levi jeans, I need whatever in all these different categories, and they can buy it from them at a discount so they can sell it in their stores. So you keep it going around and around until it gets to the end of its life cycle, and then it will be turned into another use. But the goal is whatever you do, don't put it in the landfill. So how you do that is you have to be more convenient than your trash can. So I have to be at your gas station, your grocery store, all of the places that you go every week that you don't have an excuse, that you can, fill up a bag, put it in your car, and bring it down. It just gives it a little bit, more of a chance that you're going to bring the clothes down, because it's 80%. So that means everyone is just throwing it away. So unless the people, 15%, they're like, well, I'm going to bring it to wherever and wait in line and do whatever. If it's convenient, if it's whenever they, in the middle of the night when they're going to their late shift or whatever, they can bring it there. There's no stores open. It's about convenience, and that's how you cut down that 80%.
Is the area behind the post office building, is that too small for a turnaround for the truck? I just think about the dumpsters that are back there for the florist and for that strip center, and then behind the Whitney. It's sort of out of sight, except it gets so much traffic back there for people rounding that building. I don't know if that would be too tight a turn.
I know a lot
But-
of trucks that go where it's,
Yeah.
I can
Okay.
bring you in there. but
Yeah.
There's a lot of traffic back there, and bigger traffic, but
Yeah.
I don't know who owns that land and if they give us.
I do,
permission.
but yeah, we could look into that just if this size means, if the size looks right.
Isn't that
But
Ted?
Yeah, Ted, yeah. So, and, that's who knows if it would be yes or no, but it would be worth exploring. I just think that traffic area is good back there if there's a place for it and it would fit. So that would be like number 2 spot,
Does anybody know who the owner of Fox's is? Because that would probably be a
Yeah.
really good location. If
Yeah.
it was kind of towards the road, maybe out in the back where there's not as much parking going on.
Yeah, I
put
mean,
a couple
Mike
things out there.
Mallet.
That would,
Yeah.
that would
Yeah.
definitely,
And if not there, he owns a lot of different properties. He may have some other
yeah.
things. But have we approached the transfer station again, and do they don't want any part of it? Okay.
And just so you know, the way the transfer station works is it's run by 2 towns, our town and Bartlett.
Okay.
And so any decision that gets made pertaining to anything up there has to be approved by 2/3 of each select board.
Okay.
So, in other words, both towns really have to agree on something that
Is
goes
there any
on.
way to start that conversation?
Sure, you just started
Oh,
it
yeah.
here with us,
Yeah.
I mean, but
Yeah.
you'll go to them, or you could come to one of our quarterly
Yeah.
transfer station meetings, which Julie can help you out with as far as when they're scheduled,
I don't even
if
think
you
that-
want to approach both boards at the same time. It might be more expedient for you to approach each board separately. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
I think that the downside, and we have had issues up there in the past with what's called dump stores or free stores is that they get abused by people. So they're leaving things there they really should be paying for to drop off and all kinds of other things. They're great.
No, and that's our cost. You know, that's why we go to our bins so often, because we really don't want things outside. It makes us look bad. I mean, we built the entire company on our reputation of service and how the bins look, and not having stuff outside. Now, I know in this area, this is one of our original routes, so the bins are aging, so I apologize for that. But we have you know, new bins, and
I think one of the reasons she's talking about the post office area is because, yes, everybody goes there all the time. And when you described the perfect location, that would probably be it inside the covered bridge area here in our town. That would be another location. I mean, we're a small enough town that once people know where it is, once they find it, they know it's there. So,
is there an easier way to get around the bridge? Because I know
Absolutely.
we can't get through that.
You go, just keep going 16 north, and there's signs to come in through the Jackson Village north of that.
All right.
Yeah. And
Yeah, just so I know, because I know operations, we get a phone call going, how do I get through?
Oh, you don't even want to know the stories about our bridge.
I'm sure.
But you know, I think those are two places to start for sure. You've already done your homework on the parking lot over here. I'd love to give you the information to maybe contact Ted that owns the building with the post office, because that would be another great place. And then you can talk to Mike, or somebody can talk to Mike Mallett for the Red Fox. I don't know if that would be a possibility, but he might not want it there, but somewhere else.
Yeah.
The other thing I think is with the traffic from the ski touring golf course, which is Mike's property also, across from J-Town Deli. So they get tons of foot traffic and car traffic. And if there were somewhere that would work in that area, that would be another location off of this section of, you know, in the other part of the loop. So those are my three thoughts of, if it's not an eyesore and it would be in a convenient place and in sight, those would be good starts.
well, and I'm also thinking about the one over by the porta potty. You really, it's town property.
Yeah.
But personally, I would be a little hesitant to sign off on something that the library board of trustees was against, because they are the primary users of that actual parking area. And so I'd like them to be involved and hear your spiel and know, you know, what can come from the altruistic. I mean, you're a for-profit business, I get that.
There's not a lot of profit in that in the business, I'll tell you that.
But it's paying somebody's
Trucking is
salary.
extremely expensive.
Oh.
Guys,
So,
and
In
overtime.
that sense, you know, I have no problem with it being a for-profit business, but I would want them to kind of like understand where the clothes go, understand what could be there that could help our town, understand what would be there, and how much use it would get if it was in there, and I think it would be reasonable enough for them to like see the good that could come from it.
Yeah.
Gloria, have you talked to anyone at the library, being that you're kind of part of that community?
I have not yet.
Okay.
Because I wasn't sure which.
Is that a bad idea, do you think, or is that?
Oh, I think they would be all over it.
Yeah.
But I mean, a good idea.
Good idea
to
to
let-
talk with them.
Don't they have is it March, it's Sustainability Month at the
It
library?
is, yes.
Yeah.
That is their theme this year.
And the fact that Greg and his wife are very active with the library and
Exactly.
trustees too. But that, yeah, I think that let's start there. Any other questions that you think of right now? But let's start there and see if we can contact some of the other locations. If we can get those 2 or possibly 3 locations and start and see what kind of uptick we get. We can spread the word once, you know, if we get this far to place, then we can spread the word through our e-news and through the Jackson Bridge, which is our other method of sharing news that it's available. And I just think that getting the word out and seeing how much use it gets, and the timing is perfect because it's spring, so.
Yeah, spring
be
is
great.
always the biggest.
And then if you have company information that you could leave me personally, so I
Yeah.
can share some of that as well. You don't have to leave now, but you're welcome to stay, but if you could share that, or maybe give me,
Actually, I don't know if
Contact
the
info.
schools would be interested, but we actually are, we've made 2 comic books for the schools.
oh, sweet.
Because we realize that they're the ones that are really gonna make the change.
Yeah.
So we're educating them on clothing recycling. So we have a thing where if you host a bin at the school, we have a curriculum and everything, and you'll get these for free. So I don't know if they'd be interested in something like that.
Absolutely.
So,
You know, the Whitney Center is the activity area for the school right next to the grammar school, and we have quarterly meetings, but we can talk on that committee because the principal's on there too. So that's a
Yeah.
great resource to talk. Greg is on that committee, so it's sort of 3 degrees of separation in town here. So,
yeah.
but if you give me information on that too, I can make sure the school board gets
Okay.
that and passes it on.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like comic books? My God.
Right.
So, yeah, that would be great. Any more information I can get from you outside of
Okay.
this?
Yeah, I have some stuff, and I have our annual report, which has basically everything you want to know.
Cool.
The towns are reaching out to us now about, looking at their numbers for last year and said, how can we, increase the numbers so everybody's kind of on the same kind of warpath on
Yeah.
taking it on, so.
And don't forget, as far as the schools go, then have you talked to anyone at the Bartlett Elementary School too? Because that huge area there is a totally different system than our school here, our little school here.
Yeah.
So make sure you hook up with someone at the Jackson or Bartlett Grammar School as
Yeah,
well.
okay.
They have a great big parking lot. So anything else that you guys can think of that? Great. We have our next meeting on April 8th. So any information we can get done by then, and if that's too soon, we'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting. But we also don't have to wait for meetings to share information through Julie and Gloria, you know that. So if you get any more information or need anything else from us,
Okay.
let us know.
That was something I was going to mention. I don't know if you have anything in writing you could leave or how often you get around here, but the Library Board of Trustees meet the first Tuesday of every month. So that would be Tuesday, April 1st. And even if they have just something in writing that they could look at and understand
actually,
what the idea is.
I can't give you the comic books, but I do have our annual report, and I also have this has everything, and I
Okay,
also have
perfect.
these
Yes.
that you can look at. This has a lot of information in it.
Perfect.
That should answer most, but we also, website, everything else, between all of those different things,
Yeah.
I feel like most of the answers. are
Yeah.
there.
Okay, good.
And that the comic book information is kind of in there too. So,
Okay,
yeah.
that's great.
Put that in that pile too,
Yes.
Because I don't need it.
Yep. All right.
It might be helpful for
Yeah,
me.
Garrett.
I don't know if you have, these are my business cards.
Okay.
Um,
Perfect.
Great.
That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, we need to get back into this because
Okay.
it's essential to
Yeah.
use all the stuff and keep it out of the landfills, like you said. So,
Yeah.
let's see if I can find one of my cards too. But I'll email you my information.
Okay.
So,
Perfect.
yeah, anything else I can do to get them more visible and
Yeah,
that'd be
I'm
great.
trying in Conway, North Conway, to get something that's visible. Everything is kind of hidden out there.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
hopefully
So,
we'll-
what color are the bins?
white.
We used to have the yellow ones,
The yellow
right?
ones, yeah.
Yeah.
It's out of
Okay.
state company. We're proudly from New Hampshire, so.
Got you. All right, thank you
All right,
guys
thank
for
you so
doing
much.
that. Yeah,
Thank you.
great.
Do you gonna have one more set of those that I can leave with the library or not?
You know what,
Just
we
like the
can
small-
share these and,
Okay,
or,
perfect.
yeah, we'll
Yeah,
just,
that's all I have
that's
right
all.
now, but yeah.
Okay.
don't worry, we
All
can,
right.
we'll
Thank you
pass
so
them
much.
around.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Garrett.
Thank you.
All right, that's exciting to kind of get things back in the, back going for recycling. All right, next on the agenda is the select board chair appointment. Frank said anybody but him.
Then I'll nominate you.
I will accept the nomination. Do we need to make more than a motion than that? All in favor?
Aye?
Aye. You sure?
Yep.
You didn't sound like you were hesitating,
No, no.
but I just wanted to make sure. Do you want to do the liaisons without Frank here?
That
don't
got
know.
sent around a week or two ago, and I
Yeah.
saw no need to change anything
I'm
that I'm
good
assigned
too.
with.
It's
so-
kind of nice without new select board members that we don't have to shuffle, so.
Would you like me to make a motion then to
Yeah.
continue on with our current liaison assignments?
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Perfect. All right. Fire station. So,
The only thing new I have to report is that we are going to be connecting with Ritchie Construction at some point, probably last week of March, first week of April, get a date locked in and start to kind of hammer out the next steps in the project.
I have a question for you. Are you keeping the same committee going into this, at least for starters?
The committee members are all invited to stay as involved as they would like to be.
Okay.
And I'm not sure how often a committee would be meeting and going over things as a group once construction starts, but certainly they were all quite active in the design and engineering study, so they're very familiar with the project.
Okay. I know, I did talk to Anthony Giovanni, who was on the board and is a well-known contractor and construction builder, et cetera, and he did say that he would like to stay involved as the contractors get signed on. And the other thing I would like to recommend, just because I know how much work already goes through the office, is that we have some kind of an administrative liaison that can help out with Julie and Betsy's workload. So as things start to come through, they're vetted or reviewed as much as possible so it doesn't put an entire project. Like, I know how much the Valley Cross Road Bridge has been such a paperwork, what is it called? Just a time suck.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's a little different because you're dealing with so many
It
people
totally
in
is.
the state.
It is, but
Yeah.
at the same time, this is gonna be a huge project
Yeah.
too. And I just I wanna keep open that I don't want this to overwhelm anyone. So if it means having that administrative side, whether it be you or somebody else that can do that,
Well,
yeah.
Honestly, we have the bond counsel that we have to hire.
Mhm.
So she's very helpful with all the bond information.
Okay,
The other thing is, if we're applying for a bond, that deadline for the application is April
April
25th.
25th.
So we need to determine what the bond amount we are going to be applying for.
Okay. So that's a good
And that's
goal
coming up.
for
We
our
should-
April 8th meeting
we should-
because the
yeah,
next one
we
is the
should know by
22nd.
that time.
Okay. Just let's keep that conversation
Yeah.
open, because I don't want to come in someday and find you under your desk because you're overwhelmed.
There's,
And I'm
every day I'm overwhelmed right now.
I know, that's why I don't want,
Well,
no,
there's
I
just
just
so-
want, I
so
want to
much.
throw it out there now so we're aware of it as things progress. We haven't done a large project like this in-house, building in-house
Right.
in years.
Yeah.
So we've had those conversations as recently as earlier today about
Okay.
bonding, what makes sense, what makes sense for us to formally support. We know how much the project costs. And so we know that the bond should be available to us sometime in August. We know if we don't want this time to stay dormant, and I certainly don't, that we need to come up with a way to fund the work that's done between now and when that bond would be available to us in August. And the conversations have been around what would be an appropriate amount to take out as a loan through a bank to fund in this early stage. And right now, as really Julie is the one most familiar with the timing of how these things will come in and the invoices, we're probably looking anywhere between $1 million and $1.5 million right now to take out on a loan.
Right.
And we have several banks that have worked with the town before that have interest rates that are clear to us, but we know we have to do something. And so we're already on that and having those conversations outside of the meeting, and I don't think there'll be an issue with it. I think her judgment is probably more sound on what we're going to need before then as anybody. So, and she's working with John, and John will let her know too
Yeah.
what he would expect to have coming in invoices between groundbreaking and the end of August would really dictate, I think, what we would see to borrow,
Okay,
as opposed to bond.
okay.
Right.
Just let us know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to reach out to TD Bank and Mascoma.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're gonna take out a $1.5 million bank loan, how long are you thinking to take it out for?
I would think like, ask them what their term is, but I would think probably till the end of September, October at least, in case something were to happen with the bond, that the timing is not. I mean, tell them, you have to be upfront with them and say the bond should be available in
Right.
August, but
Right.
you don't want to get to August 30th and say, well, we're 3 days late and $1 short. So I don't know if they do like a 9-month term or,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So I think that's where, we're probably going to be counting on the experience of an institution that has done this kind of thing
Okay.
before, seen bonded projects come in, understanding that work's going to start before the bond is available. So how does that go? I don't think we're treading new ground here, and I think
Yeah.
we'll get plenty of help out of the institutions. I think, they'd be looking at, a 10-year rate. Well, in our case, if we're going to bond, we bond for the full amount and we use that $1.5 million plus a short amount of interest to pay it off in September. Is that an option? I don't know. I don't know how these things work, but I think all of those answers are out there for us asking the right questions.
And I would think the bond council, the
Yeah.
institutions, like you said, banks and bond council.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's going to go, here's what you do.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
can't wait to learn about it though, really,
I know,
honestly.
yeah, exactly.
It's going to be a process.
Well, I'm glad you're so hungry for the learning.
I am. I don't know what's I'm an accountant, so it's probably crazy. And again, I'll always say it, if we need to have meetings in between now and then, even though I'll be out of town, we can always do, a Zoom call or something like that if we have to, so. All right, so keep us posted on that and the committees and action. We'll probably be keeping the fire station on our agenda for a while.
Yeah.
So. All right, next is board and commission appointments. So I'm really excited because we had a bunch of people that really expressed interest on joining the Housing Commission. And unfortunately, we did have one person that had to step off. So I'm accepting Jonathan Laguerre's resignation effective immediately for personal reasons. And he was a great, he's going to step back on if he can in the future and volunteer and come to the meetings if he can. But he was a great young person's opinion and outlook on the meeting, and he lives in the Wildcat Townhomes building something in the Dana Place condos, so or redoing something. So good luck on getting your stuff back together. But in the meantime, we have 2 new full-time members because of the vote at the town meeting, and then we will have 4 alternates and 1 vacancy. So Scott Badger will remain the chair through 2027, Ken Carpenter is on through 2027, and Jake McCambly through 2027, and he is the secretary. So I would like to, and if you're okay with this, I will make a motion to appoint them, and you can second, and then we'll sign.
Are we appointing some as regular members and
Yes.
some as our alternates,
Alternates.
or are we
Yes.
letting them figure it out?
Nope, Scott and I had talked briefly about a process for the meeting today, and he's sick, so couldn't make it. So we said we'll appoint 2 as permanent and 4 as alternates.
Okay.
All right, so I will make a motion to appoint Bernie Off as a regular member of the Housing Commission for a 3-year term.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And Bernie, his wife is on one of the library.
Library
Yep.
alternate, I believe.
Yep.
Oh, actually, I think she got elected.
Yes, I think she did as well. And then I will make a motion to appoint Emily Benson as a regular member of the Housing Commission as well.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There you go. And then I will make a motion to appoint Bethany Taylor as an alternate member of the Jackson Housing Commission.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And Bethany lives in the area up on near Spruce Mountain.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Next is Nancy Nygreen, and I will make a motion to appoint her as an alternate member.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And Nancy has been in town for a little over a year now, I think. All right. Next alternate member I would like to make a motion to appoint is Meredith Pietro, and she is employee at the library, very active in town.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Really got some great people here. I'm excited. And then our last alternate member is Ruth Ann Brown, who's lived here for decades, so I will make a motion to appoint her.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Perfect. And we have a meeting at 6. So I'm looking forward to having a full group tonight, except Scott, who's home. So we still have one vacancy, if anyone else is interested. All right, the next is the planning board, and there are, what do we have here? We have Bill Terry, his term is up, so I will make a motion to appoint Bill Terry as a regular planning board member and renew his term.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then this other guy's term is up. His name is David Campbell. I will make a motion to appoint David as a regular member of the planning board.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
And then the third one is James Wasco, who has been a planning board member. Has he been an alternate or a regular?
No, he's a regular member.
Awesome, so his term is up, and now we'll make a motion to renew his term as a regular planning board member.
Second.
All in favor?
He was an alternate, and then he was.
Yeah.
And now he's filling in Kathy
Kathleen's.
Doherty.
Gotcha.
He's been a long-term alternate then, I
Yeah,
guess.
he
Yeah.
Okay,
He was,
gotcha.
yeah.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you. Next is the Conservation Commission, and we have a renewal of the term for, Richard Bennett. Make a motion to appoint Mr. Bennett for a new term on the Conservation Commission.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hold on, 'cause I have 2 stapled here. Lots of hardware. And then the next one is to reappoint Ken Kimball as a regular member of the Conservation Commission. I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Changing of the guards.
Renewal
Re-upping.
of the guards. Okay, and then the last one is for the Zoning Board of Adjustment, and this is to appoint James Wasco as a regular representative to the Zoning Board.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
And so Jim is on the planning board and the ZBA, which is the most members you can have on both boards. Most duplicate. Right. All right.
Oh, I didn't know there was something like that.
Yes, I didn't either. I just learned that, so I had to share my knowledge.
Ah.
Okay, this is a notification that the town is going to be going under a construction project along New Hampshire Route 16, where they are putting rumble strips along the road. So that is starting in June 2025 with a completion date of September 2025. And this is just an FYI. We don't need to make a motion on it, but I'm sure they'll have all kinds of signage and information when they start.
Exciting.
The next is, we're gonna make a motion on this one for the bridge to be replaced.
That's just whether or not, this is that red listed bridge, and the state wants to know if we are still interested in.
Okay, keeping it on the list.
Yeah, we're doing the project, it's up to be done. Similar
Fantastic.
to the Valley Crossroads Bridge, and you'll see that it increased quite
Yes.
a bit.
So this is the bridge number 198/046, the Dundee Road over Mill Brook, New Hampshire DOT project 44319. Based on a cost in 2023, it was at $996,000, and over the past 2 years, it has increased to $1.474 million. Municipality's 20% share for this is now estimated to be $294,800. And basically, we have to make a motion and approve whether or not we are still in favor of keeping this bridge on the list to be repaired.
I'll make a motion to keep the Dundee Bridge on the list of bridges to be repaired with the state.
I will second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And Julie, you signed that, so we're good,
Yeah,
right?
I
Okay.
think they're gonna email me like they
Perfect.
did with the Valley Crossroad.
All right.
And Burr will be involved in that as
Okay.
well.
Do we find the contractors and everything on that, just like we did for?
It'll be the same process.
Same process.
The bidding everything will have to go out to bid. And Burr did say, we're just saying that, yes, we're still interested in doing the project. If anything changes, we're not, it's not set in stone that we have to do it, but I mean, we should.
And this is part of
because
their
we don't want to
tenure.
pay the full amount.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Okay, the next is trustee of the trust funds withdrawal requests. And the first is to withdraw $16,234.40 from the Bridge Repair Expendable Trust Fund 0034, invoice 32012 dated January 31st, 2025 for HEB Engineers. And the second is for $1,980 from the Olive Godfrey Trust Fund 0041, invoice number 4513, dated 1/31/2025 for LA Drew Incorporated.
I'll make a motion that we withdraw those funds to provide for those vendors doing the work that were just outlined in the letter.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Just one page.
Oh.
Sorry. No, I just want to make sure it's just one signature. Sometimes there's withdrawals and then other funding. All right, the next is,
Our share of that bridge is going to be about the amount we spend on the trusses.
I know. It'll be less, could be
I love
well,
history as much as the next guy,
but
but the primary function of a bridge is to function as a bridge.
not aesthetics. All right, the next is for the select board to approve the approve the fly casting instruction at the Kids Pond for the North Country anglers. And that will be on June 5th, 2025.
And we need to approve that with a motion?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion that we approve that day on June 7th, 2025 for the Kids Pond request.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
I don't think we signed, we just had to make a motion. All right, 2 short-term rentals. The one is an owner change, so it's just an approval of the conditional use permit to change to the new owner, which is at 10B Joshua Loop, previous short-term rental owner. So I will make a motion to approve the change in ownership.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
And today is 3/18/25. And the next one is for the pending violation of the owners at 88 Transfer Station Road. The owner has contacted our attorney, Jason Dennis, and we have spoken with her. We're just waiting to receive the application on that, so it's still pending.
Yes, correct.
All right. Why did they contact Jason?
Because on the violation notice, it says
Contact the
to
attorney.
contact the
Okay.
attorney.
Understood.
They are, they're currently renting it as 4 bedrooms, but they only have a 3-bedroom septic, and she's aware of that.
Okay.
And she is going to be reaching out to a septic design to see if she can get more bedrooms on that property.
Interesting.
Which is, I mean, there's like, I think it's like 40 acres, so.
Yeah, it's a big house
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
But in the meantime, she's supposed to be submitting the
Yes, she
application
is.
for
Yep,
that
I
and
talked to
changing
her.
their
Yeah,
ad.
we should be receiving that soon.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Planning board is meeting Thursday, so it'll be another month before
No,
they
yeah, it will
get
be
that
another month.
done.
Mhm.
But they're still
Yeah,
renting.
she said, well, no, she was
Okay.
currently renting it for 4 bedrooms, and I explained to her that you can't do that.
Okay, all right.
And so
Thank
she'll continue to rent, but as 3 bedrooms only.
When she gets everything in and approved, she can only rent for 3 bedrooms.
Is she currently renting it before they're filing the application, or did they stop
Well,
renting it, or
we were told by the transfer station that they were renting it,
Yeah.
but she said they've stopped because
Okay.
they're doing some work on the house.
Okay,
So, but now that she knows all of this,
Mm.
okay,
she's working on getting that fixed.
okay. I'm glad she reached out. All right, there are 2 new building permits. One is for a pole barn on 944 Route 16, and the other is for solar panels being installed on 148 Black Mountain Road, and I actually saw them there today installing that. So, any public comment? Chirp, chirp,
You, sir?
Next meeting is Tuesday, April 8th, 3:30 for a regular select board meeting, and there will be a non-public directly following that at 4:30. And then the meeting after that is Tuesday, April 22nd at 3:30 for a regular select board meeting. I believe that is it for today. I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 4:23.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.